Hi guys, welcome back to Spirit Show. So we're gonna talk about a little spiciness today, and it's called witchcraft because, I'm always talking about not self-identifying and not having all these labels and stuff. But you know what? A lot of people started to label me as a witch, and you know what? If the shoe fits, flaunt that because they might be really nice shoes. Who knows? Anyway, so we've gone through a lot of despair, right? And a lot of confusion, especially with the spiritual awakening community, because there's so many different perceptions of reality. So many people experience different things, and they don't necessarily always understand how they come together and create this whole piece of the universe. So, it's really, really important to understand the shadow learning element of, or the void, the shadow learning of the void. So, like, go through it and understand that you went through it, and, be very proud of yourself, first of all, because you're the one that experienced it and your reality is valid. So, anybody who questions your reality, don't give them that power over you, first of all, because they probably have a lot more things going on too. And they could be lying about their own reality and just want to project onto you. So, just take what others say with a grain of salt and use your own intuition, your own wisdom to really uh, decide what is, important, and use your occult wisdom more than anything and your knowledge of this universe, this universal power, I should say, because at the end of the day, it's about your own mental health. It's about your own mental wealth and your own mental state of being, because your mental health is what matters most, period. Like, the reality created itself so we can experience it, but you're also here to create your own reality and live your own reality so you can be happy, period. So understand that you go through things, and just separate yourself from situations that you don't resonate with and that don't serve your purpose. Because if it's like an argument, especially a petty argument, it's not for you, babe. You don't need to continue to put energy into things that don't serve you and that don't belong to you, especially other people's energy. Like, if somebody's upset with you because you are who you are, then they're going to be upset with you for other reasons too, period. Now, with that being said, let's talk about being a witch and an alchemist at the same time, because they really go hand in hand. They reflect on each other because it's all about intention setting. There's so many different types of witches. It doesn't matter how you label yourself. I mean, it's really just about your purest energy. And so, with that in mind, alchemy is the purest form of witchcraft. But there's still things that not necessarily wrong about an individual, but they still make mistakes. Alchemists make mistakes. I mean, if they didn't make mistakes, I think the world would be perfect, and then we'd all be grossed out because that sounds gross. But who knows what your concept of perfect is? Maybe it really is perfect. But we'll just take that one with a grain of salt as well, and we're gonna go on to intention setting with crystals, because this is a really pure form of magic. Like, when you concentrate on a crystal as a witch, it has so much power over you. First of all, because it's a beautiful tower and it's mesmerizing. And what was I talking about? Um, Oh yeah, beautiful crystals. Yeah, crystals are very, very powerful, and I will tell you from my own experience, and you go ahead and do this little test for me because I did it and I was like, whoa. And you're gonna have your mind blown too, because, like, if you're not open to these concepts already, like, experimenting with these concepts is gonna be like the funnest part of actually living in this reality, because you're like a little scientist, a little alchemist who's testing things out for yourself, and now you don't have to have or worry about other people questioning your reality because you went and did all the little, like, chemistry details yourself. Like, you went and did all this scientific research on a personal level. So, like, okay, going into it, I want you to just, like, take your rose quartz, right? Or your obsidian in particular, if you want to protect your energy, or even an organite pyramid. You can also bring that too. And bring it, or no, charge it first, right? Charge it under the moonlight. Charge it under a new moon in particular, or a full moon, whichever your intentions are. A new moon, though, the new moon will definitely clear out a lot of baggage, it'll clear out a lot of karmic energy, and it will just kind of set yourself free of everything around you. So there's still going to be like this reality around you that's got all these like toxic elements or whatever that are distracting and convoluting and things like that. But like if you, oops, sorry. If you bring your crystal and you charge it under the moonlight, I want you to just kind of be in the reality. Be completely in your reality. And when you go to the grocery store in particular, because that's like the one place that most of us, especially mommies, I'm not a mommy myself, most moms just dread going to the store because there's so many people, there's so many things, and they probably usually have their kids with them. And, it's frustrating. Let's be real. The grocery store can be one of the most frustrating places to experience. So bring your crystals with you and have them charged and ready to go, and just be in that reality and be very self aware of your surroundings and your own energy in particular. Be around that energy and test this a couple of times too. You can totally test this multiple times just to make sure that I'm talking about what I'm talking about. Okay? And then do this. Journal that, because we're also going to talk about journaling today and why that's important. And write these things down. Write down your energy and how you responded, what your triggers were, if you had any, and how you responded, right? And then, after that, or before, go in without your crystals and have like no intention at all. Don't don't even have intentions. Just go to the grocery store and start shopping. Well, I mean, you can still bring your grocery list, of course, but just go into the store without having any of this type of intention, any of this like pure energy about you, and just kind of like notice the difference. Notice the changes and still be self-aware and be in your reality, and notice and compare the energy before and the energy without. The energy with and the energy without, because it's going to be really eye-opening, and you're just going to understand a lot more about intention setting, and it's really going to be eye-opening for you on a spiritual level. So with that being said, you can have like whatever type of crystals you really want, but I definitely recommend doing some research yourself and just finding which crystals you resonate with, especially if you're looking for like protective energy. Like I said before, like take your obsidian. I think if that's like really what you're looking for, obsidian or rose quartz or clear quartz in particular will definitely help keep you protected from other people's energies. So going into like journaling though, this is also a really pure form of magic, alchemy, witchcraft, whatever resonates with you. Like, and just understand like the things that you write down. First of all, your brain is only capable of like remembering so much, right? And that's why we have all these apps and all of these journals and all of these things, and we like write down our thoughts and our ideas. Especially, it's super important on getting on like the right track of like creating and manifesting, is writing things down so you know exactly what your intentions are, and you can remember those things. Because again, you're not going to remember everything because your brain's only capable of holding so much information in for a very great reason. So, write down your thoughts and ideas and be consistent with your rituals, because rituals are the most important and a very, very beautiful process to being a witch, an alchemist, whatever it is. We're just going to stick with witches today, okay? It's what we're labeling ourselves as, because the shoe fits, wear it. I think I already said that. I don't know. I've recorded this video a few times because of audio issues. Anyway, so I guess I've mentioned this before, but I have this journal, this intention journal. I manifested that audio issue. It was my puppy coming. Anyway, rose quartz, help me out here in this situation because there's things distracting me right now. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, back to it. Intention setting, journaling. I got this, by the way, if you haven't already watched that video as well. I have this video about my unboxing with Lunarly. They give you this intention journal at first. So whether you're like into like intention setting, or you want to do some like really great shadow work, or really important shadow work, I should say, because there's nothing great about shadow work. But if you really want to get into it, like practice what you preach. Practice your intentions and practice your rituals more than anything, because your rituals are what's going to keep you in this element of power and this element of self-worth and this element of like energetic abundance. Because when you're manifesting something, you have to write your ideas down, you have to write your goals down, and you have to stick with things, because consistency is a very big part of being being ritualistic and realistic. It's super essential to be very aware of your rituals and very prepared for your rituals, because like it's just like, okay, think about this concept. Like when you see all these people who are doing like the self growth and the self worth, which is also what this channel is about. When you see people like drinking their cups of tea and like or coffee or whatever, and they start writing things down in their journal, it's all about being like in the element of power and empowerment, because you're going through things and you're understanding that, hey, I gotta leave this old lifestyle behind because it's just keeping me in this stagnant stage, and I'm still just doing the same things over and over again. And I want to start experiencing abundance for myself, so I gotta start creating a better reality. You can't create a better reality without starting to create a better reality, right? I know, mind blowing. Like, you have to do things in order to manifest. I mean, yeah, magic, yeah, alchemy, yeah, witchcraft is all real, but you still have to do things in order for things to happen. Now, maybe that comes off strong, because I'm not saying that you have to like have so much to create stuff. Like, that's not what I'm saying either. You can still manifest things like crazy, because I do that too. And I do that with like chaos magic pretty often too, because like my affirmations sometimes are really off. I know I'm a Virgo, and I'm an overthinker and an overachiever sometimes, and also an underachiever sometimes. It just depends on my mood. But my point is like, you're going to create this reality for yourself by doing rituals, by creating the life that you want to live. So, like, you know, if somebody wants to label you as whatever, just like go with it or cut them hell off. I definitely suggest both. But, like, don't allow somebody to just tell you that you're a terrible person because you want to be a witch, okay? There's going to be so many people out there that are going to tell you that you're wrong and that you're doing something wrong and that you're an evil person, God hates you, and all kinds of things. And you know what? Witchcraft was around before so many different people even knew what that concept was. I mean, really, in reality, a book that some other man made based on astrology and then retold the story over again in his own mind and in his own concept of reality, it got misconstrued, and then some people got hung and stoned to death and some crazy stuff and burned alive because they were living some other person's reality or they were living their own reality. So just kind of think about those concepts and then compare them to what you're currently doing. Are you hurting somebody else? Do you have bad intentions for other people? Because if you do, you should probably question your own reality, because what are you doing? Come on, man. Like, if they didn't hurt you, why are you gonna hurt them? Although I will get into chaos magic eventually, because karma is a biatch, and some people do deserve some awful things, and we won't mention that right now because that's not what this video is about. We're gonna keep our vibe higher because the new moon is tomorrow. Whew. And yeah, so like, just live the reality that you want as long as you're not hurting somebody else. Like I said at the beginning of the video, your mental health is the most important part, and if it keeps you in power and it keeps you in your own element in your own world, and it makes you okay with being by yourself, which is really essential in the spiritual world, like, I would go for it. I would go with it and be the person that you want to be at the end of the day, because that's what this is about. But like, going into like the beautiful sides of witchcraft is like, there's nature involved, there's self-love involved, beautiful things, right? Crystals, mesmerizing crystals, journaling, getting your goals down. Okay, tell me what a part of like complete evil is that? I mean, just okay, evil reflects life. Live evil. Evil, live. Compare those two words together. Lived, devil. Did you think about it? I hope so. Because, yeah, I mean, like, there's yin and there's yang, there's light and there's dark, there's good and there's bad, there's evil and there's greatness? I don't know. But these things reflect each other and they're a part of each other because they go in cycle. The Mayan calendar, it never ends. It's a cycle. It's repetitive. And so people understand that this cycle is repetitive, but they don't understand how to step out of that reality by being their individual self and not going and seeking other people's validations. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. I've done it too. It's okay. It's okay if you needed outside validation for your reality. Sometimes you get in this crazy mindset and you don't know what's real and what's reality, and it's so confusing. And I totally understand that, especially when you're having a spiritual awakening. It can be really intense and hard to understand, and especially hard to relate to other people because so many people, even in the spiritual community, will tell you that you're wrong. And spirituality is so vague, babe. I love you, but it's so vague that like there's like religion involved and there's not religion involved. That's what spirituality really is. I mean, if we're looking at real concepts of words and what their true deep inner meaning is, the same thing goes for like government. It's mind control in Latin, but there's also some things that are important and vital to the government because they provide, not necessarily provide, but they keep us in alignment with like the collective in strong and strange and sometimes awful ways. And yeah, there's dark elements to that sort of reality, and a lot of people in the spiritual realm are totally supportive and also sometimes anti supportive of those things. It's based on the individual perception. So now that I've honed that into you and hammered it in, like, be yourself and, create a reality that works for you because, again, your mental health is very important. Like, there's so many things that are wrong with this life. Like, you being a witch and hanging out with some crystals and reading some tarot cards every once in a while, it doesn't make you a bad person. I mean, being a, a bad person makes you a bad person. Like a wit like come on, let's be real. Like, what is this card? I guess it's got like this monster on it, but how many monster movies have you seen? Come on. Don't be a hypocrite. It's just a card. Like, unless I'm hurting somebody else, which, I think I should definitely get slapped around and have a reality check. Like, I'm not hurting anybody else, so I'm not gonna sit here and try to shame myself because I'm not living my life the way you want me to. Just saying. So, going into things, like the really beautiful part of being a witch and understanding your own spiritual reality is like there's all these beautiful elements, and this goes back into lunarly even. Like the universe itself has like some really great things to show you about yourself and like create these rituals for you. And like going through these moon cycles, I wish I could show you. Maybe I'll figure it out. Like, I have a few apps on my phone, and I'm actually, you know what? I think I might make this my next video because I think it's really important that people like figure out how to get organized on like their own level. But sometimes it's really hard to get organized. But being in the ritual world, like creating the rituals for yourself as a witch, is really, really vital to one, keeping your mental health in check, and then also vibing higher because you have like these beautiful things about like earth and life and love, and like you understand these concepts of cycles and life cycles because you also have like this portal in your womb that connects you with the spiritual reality and spiritual realms. And going through like all these rituals and understanding the moon and the moon cycles and why things are based on astrology to begin with, because before technology and before like all these bright cities were here, all of our ancestors, all they had were like this like chisel system where they would like make like, I guess, portraits of themselves on these stones, and then they would look up to the stars and they'd tell these stories to each other about, like, why somebody was like sleeping with two other women, and they all had like this giant orgy under the sun, and like, okay, I'm going a little too deep with that, but some of these stories are really, really intense. Like, if you actually looked at some of our ancestry and like some of the things that people actually did, like Mayans and sacrificing children in caves. I've been in one of those caves. I know I'm a scary person, but I was in Belize, and I wanted to experience it. I wanted to understand people and individuals on a deeper level, as well as the spiritual side of tribes. And it was a really eye-opening experience to understand that, like, people do awful things, and doing awful things is what makes you an awful creature, not a label. So, be who you want to be, but, try to keep away from the spiritual gatekeepers, and please don't be a spiritual gatekeeper yourself, because this is the whole point of this video. I love you. There was a secret meaning in it, I swear. At least you know now. But my point is like, you doing witchcraft, it's not gonna make you a bad person. It's not gonna bring this like demonic element to your mind. People are gonna tell you that demons are attached to you all the time, but some of them also might be shamans looking for your bank account info. So I'm just saying, like, to each their own. You can create some really beautiful things through witchcraft, like this beautiful spell bottle that I made out of recycled honey jar. It's a cute little bear, and he's got a selenite crystal, and this is part of me creating abundance because he has this tie on his head and this wax. Look at how cute he is, too. He's got all this gold attached to him, and there's some spells and some ash inside. It's just really beautiful to experience and be a part of because you yourself created this, and it's art. It's art in a beautiful way, and it's recycled, and it's like restoring energy and creating these beautiful cycles and transmuting more than anything, because transmutation is very, very important in alchemy and witchcraft, because what we do is we take these concepts of dark realms and dark realities and we turn them into lighting situations, enlightenment situations, where we understand the darker sides of the world and we bring light to it, which doesn't mean love and beautiful things and flowers and stuff, although there's a part of that too, but it's really about knowledge. Light is knowledge, dark is the shadow. It's what's unknown, it's what people hide, and the light is what's brought into reality and looked upon and understood on a deep, deep, meaningful level. So just understand that, like, just because somebody labels themselves, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are who they say they are. I know, triggering. Hate me. It's okay. Sometimes I do too. Just kidding. But seriously, like, live your life the way you want to. I'm gonna keep saying it. Okay, you understand it now. So, like, being a witch, it really has a lot to do with self care, self love, and, being accepting of yourself. So, I hope that this video resonates. I hope this really does reach the right people, because you need to be okay with yourself, you need to love yourself, and you need to get slapped in with reality sometimes, but you don't also need to beat yourself up with reality and other people's reality. So I love you, and yeah, if you want any concepts to be enlightened for you, and if you have any like things or questions that you have, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below too, and we can go from there and we can grow together and we can explore these topics. So enjoy yourself a new moon. Don't forget to make your new moon water and your little crystal shrine under the moonlight, and enjoy yourself. Have some tea, read a book, and vibe. Love you. Bye.